Hello, hello. Welcome to this live all about soulmates. So I gathered your questions about soulmates. We are live both on YouTube and Instagram. If you want to drop your questions, just drop them in the chat. I am looking at YouTube right now. My husband is looking at Instagram, so we might get the chance to answer your questions. I am going to start by setting the space, cleansing it a little bit, and giving the time for everyone to join. By the way, if you were there for the French live, I did it at 11 EST, so I just finished it, and the replay is available. Okay, so I'm going to start today by answering the first question that is not about soulmates. It's about channeling, and I hadn't had the time to answer it in February's Q&A. And so I want to touch on it. Also, before I forget, my Advanced Akashic Records course is ready soon. It's going to be launched in April. Yay! So if you want to get the lowest price, you need to subscribe to my newsletter to get the pre-sale price. What you can do as well, so that you know when it's on sale, you can get on the wait list. So on Instagram, if you click on the list, I've added a button for that. Otherwise, on my website, you can just click and get on the wait list. Okay, so let's dive in. I have a question from Veronique, and Veronique wants to know, when we start channeling, what are the types of feelings and sensations that we can get when we start connecting to our spirit guides? How do we know that they are our guides, and how do we tell the difference? So first of all, there are 4 clairs, and those sensations and feelings, it's clairsentience. There is also clairvoyance, clairaudience, and claircognizance, also called clairknowing. So Veronique is asking about clairsentience here. So what are the clairsentience signs when we've meditated and we've called upon our spirit guides, and what can we be feeling to know that they are here? Well, as I always say, it depends. It depends on who you are. It depends, do you have a strong do you have a strong clairsentience or not? Some people, they might just have a strong clairvoyance or strong clairknowing. A lot of us, we have a mix of the clairs. When we start channeling, oftentimes we have a predominant clair, and we might have a mix of 2 up there, and it varies. And the further you develop your channeling skills, the more that you are getting all the 4 clairs mixed up together when you channel. And if you don't know a lot about clairs, I have a full module just on how to develop the clairs and find out your dominant clairs in my channeling course. So, clairsentience, when you start channeling, so just meditated, just connected to your spirit guides, what can happen? So a lot of people, they will get chills either behind their necks or on their back. So every time they get chills, and they know their spirit guides are there. Some people get really, really hot, and they know, okay, it's kind of the energy in the room, the spirit guides are there. Some people get cold, but I usually hear that it's more on the hotter side. There's also this sense of insistence sometimes, and I get that a lot. So it's kind of, I can feel them coming, and I feel an insistent presence, like we are here. You're not imagining things, like something changed in the vibes of the room. They are here. Also, when you channel, if you are also clairvoyant, what you might get is that you see them coming from your right side, because your right side is all about creativity, intuition. So that's very much active when you channel. Doesn't mean that you don't see anything from your left side, which is more the logic part. Like, you will get things as well. But when I see spirit guides coming, more often than not, they're coming from the right side. So you might get a feeling from your right side, like the energy is strong. There's an insistence there. Plus, you might kind of see spirit guides. You might just see colors or kind of specks of energy, like sparkles. It depends for everyone how they see it. So this is how you can get sensations when your spirit guides are there. Not everyone is getting sensations. It just depends. Are you more clairsentient than other? Other things I wanted to say is that you will also recognize their style of communication. Are they very talkative? Are they very active spirit guides? Or are they rather passive spirit guides? So I talked about this in one of my first YouTube videos. Are your guides passive or active? In a nutshell, they are active if they answer your questions a lot when you ask for validation, or when you just ask questions, like they're very talkative, the answers are very fleshed out. Or they might be rather passive. They're like, they will answer with one word, or they will answer your question by a question. So this happens a lot with old souls. And if you're watching this, if you're interested in spirituality and all that stuff, you're an old soul. Oftentimes we have incarnations where we go, okay, I've reincarnated a lot, getting the hang of it. We always have our free will, but okay, in this incarnation, I would like to have a go at, I don't know, lesson of patience all by myself. So your spirit guides are always there, but they are giving you more leeway. And this is how sometimes we feel like, are they there at all? Yes, they are there. They're just there as kind of a backup or reminder if we go really astray. But otherwise, they're no, you've got this. Like, you've asked us to be passive, so we are passive. Another thing I wanted to mention is that you can try channeling in different ways. So try the different clairs, try what works best for you and what leads you to recognize quickly your spirit guides. If you want to, you can use oracle cards so that you kind of have that buffer when you channel. You kind of have that materials thing with you, that you choose a card and you're like, okay, your card is like your conversation starter with your spirit guides. Kind of, they're giving you one word and you're like, okay, I'm getting this one word. What is your full message with this? Ask for signs from your spirit guides. Ask often, because you really need to practice a lot and to find out what is their style, what is their communication style, what are their cues that they are there with you. So that is going to be easier for you. And also, if you haven't downloaded my channeling cheat sheet, it's all about recognizing, intuition versus imagination. So are you imagining things? Are you imagining the message, or are you truly channeling them? So to help you with this, wait. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention. So to help you with this, you are going to see that the messages from your spirit guides, of course, they're super wise, but it's always rooted in love. And when it's your thoughts come from your ego self. So a lot of time it's going to take you into that downward spiral of negative thoughts, victimization, or the contrary, or thinking that you're just the best and that you know best. And so you're going to see the difference between your guide's message and your ego's message. So that's pretty much the basis. Like in the channeling course, we have a module on that, on being mindful and recognizing the ego and meeting your ego self and all that. And also, the difference between your spirit guides lies in your day-to-day spirit guides and your more advanced spirit guides. So your day-to-day spirit guides are your soul family members on the astral plane when they are in between incarnations. They know you super well and they help you more into day-to-day stuff, kind of easier questions that you have. So you might take a shower and get an information, and that comes from your day-to-day spirit guides. And then you have more advanced spirit guides like your teacher guides and ascended masters and archangels. And you're going to get messages from them more, can be through dreams, Akashic records, and also when you do a formal channeling session with them. So here you can see the difference between different spirit guides. Okay, let's dive in soulmates. You know me, I need my sip of herbal tea. Okay, so first question, we have a question from Jennifer. And Jennifer wants to know, I'd like to know more, understand more the concept of soulmates. Is it the same version the same concept that we're imagining on Earth? And then I will go straight into the next question from Litzy. And Litzy wants to know, what's the difference between soulmates and twin flames? So, okay, first of all, soulmates, according to my spirit guides, soulmates are members of our soul family. So I talked all about the soul journey and soul family in February's live. If you missed it, you can go and watch it. And so our soul family members are here with us since the inception of our soul. So our souls have been created like as a bunch, a lot. And these people who have been created at the same time as us, they are in our soul group. And with them, we have many, many reincarnations. And so we might have been reincarnated as, brothers, sisters, parents, romantic soulmates, good friends. It can be even like boss employee relationship. So we have had quite a ride with these people. And when we decide to have a soulmate relationship, a romantic relationship with a soulmate, it is because we have some karma to balance and we have life lessons to learn with these people. And the best way to go deep with someone is to have a romantic relationship. And that's how we decide that we are going to be romantic soulmates, because there are different type of soulmates. You see here, you can even have a furry soulmate. So this is Nala from One Bike, One World. And if you want to go check out that account, it's on Instagram and on YouTube. And there's a book, like one of the best books that I've read. And it's about a man who finds his furry soulmate. One of the strongest furry soulmate relationship that I have read and watched. It's really beautiful. He's still active, by the way, on Instagram and YouTube. And so we might as well have furry soulmates or just friends. We're really close to them. But soulmates are our soul family members that we know super, super well. And we decide to be romantic soulmates on Earth. And we decide that when we make our soul plan, our life plan before incarnating. And what we do is that we don't have just one soulmate. And I know in the movies, oftentimes it's just, there's only one. I'm looking for the one. The reality is there's not only one. And that is how, we have many relationships, and not all our exes were necessarily soulmates, but some of them might be. Another thing is that we all have our free will, and something that may happen. Just imagine if you are someone super spiritual, Zen, into meditation, like vegan, like the whole archetype, and you meet a soulmate, a romantic soulmate, and that person, their life didn't go as planned. Like they are fully drug addict, always partying, like very contrary, like miles away from where you are, and you just want to have a life where you find a soulmate, you have kids, and you have a very stable and spiritual life. And that is just not going to happen with how that person is just spiraling down. So this is why we make different soul contracts with different romantic soulmates before incarnating. And it's not about having a plan B, C, D. It's not like we don't have lesser soulmates because we've reincarnated so much that we have a lot of things to resolve and different life lessons with different people from our soul family. So, okay, if someone is not ready to have a romantic relationship with me, no big deal. Your soul guides are going to work behind the scenes to put the synchronicities together to make you meet another soulmate. The difference with a twin flame, and I know some of you have questions on Instagram, and I'll get to it, okay? So the difference with twin flames is that it's not like other people say it is. So okay, listen, I just want to have a full disclaimer here. If your notion of what a twin flame is very set for you and it doesn't resonate with what my spirit guide explains, it's fine. Like you can just keep what your definition is. But to answer Letty's question, I'm going to tell you what my spirit guides say what it is. It's not a soul that you need to have a romantic relationship with. It's your soul that is split into 4 parallel incarnations, which is a concept that I have a full video on YouTube that I posted about a year ago. So it's called Parallel Incarnations if you want to go and look for it. But in a nutshell, what happened is that spirit guides realized that there are too many young souls on Earth, and it creates an imbalance here because young souls are pretty much, they're not caring for the Earth. It's total chaos. So if they would have continued to create new souls, young souls, it would have run the world down. So they stopped creating new souls, but people still are having babies on Earth. So old souls are splitting up their souls, but it's not like we are not 2 lesser souls. We are 2 full souls. And when we incarnate, like I am incarnated as Meli here in Canada, and there is another part of me in another country with other life missions, other soul types, working on other life lessons. So we're kind of working on different things because we've accumulated so much karma and fears from our past lives. It's like, okay, it's a win-win. Like no more younger souls for a while, but I get to incarnate in 2 places at the same time. And usually we choose to incarnate in countries that are further apart. The goal is not to meet your twin flame, your parallel incarnation. When we meet our parallel incarnation, it's kind of weird. Some people may have romantic relationships with kind of themselves, their soul. But it's not going to really help you because it's yourself. You really need to have a soul that is different from yourself to either support you or confront you to help you learn life lessons. And you need a soul that is different from yours to balance karma. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at some questions. Cheryl Linsell on Instagram wants to know, what's the difference between twin friends versus soulmates? Cheryl, I don't know. Oh, they said twin flames versus soulmates. Oh, there you go. I already, they corrected themselves. So I already answered this one. Super Liquor Fan wants to know, is it common for a soulmate to be one of your spirit guides? It is not. Usually our spirit guides do not want to incarnate again. And the reason is that when we finish our reincarnation cycle, and I've talked about this earlier, but just to recap, like there are 10 soul ages or soul levels, if you prefer, and I work with Ainsley MacLeod's soul levels. So levels 1 to 5, young souls, levels 6 to 10, old souls. When we finish level 10, we feel that we've learned everything that we need to learn from the human experience, and we go very quickly to the astral plane, and then we become a spirit guide full time on the causal plane. And like, we've learned enough from our human experience that we don't feel the need to go back. Now, some spirit guides agree to go back to help us. So sometimes when we're on the astral plane, we're making our life plan, and we might insist that we want our soul guide to be with us in our incarnation. But I've never done an Akashic reading where I saw that someone had them as a romantic partner. And my spirit guides are saying that it's not really somewhere they want to go. They are there as a guide, and their goal is to keep being a guide in our incarnation if they come to join us. And that's really rare, by the way, when we have a spirit guide, teacher guide coming with us. So it's really rare, but they want to have a role when there is a less emotional connection. And it's very emotional when you have a romantic soulmate. So they would rather come as a parent or a child, because yes, there is a lot of emotion, but it's not the same as when it's with love. They can be a friend, or just a presence in our life. Like, it can be a neighbor or a teacher. And if they say, okay, I'm going to join you, but not for too long, because their goal is not to go back on earth. Sometimes it's just, okay, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going and then I'm going to die. I'm going to be with you for X amount of years, and then I'll give you the basis on earth, and then I will die, and I will continue on to help you from the causal plane. So this is how it goes. So I'm getting a no, that it's not one of their goals to be there with us in a romantic relationships, but I'm not getting an absolute no from them. I'm just getting like, it's not our goal, which is very typical of spirit guides. They want to keep everything everything open. They don't like to speak in absolutes, but haven't seen that yet in what I channel for myself and for others. Okay, let's move on. We have Angelique, and Angelique wants to know, is it possible to recognize a soul with whom we have had past lives? Absolutely. We recognize these souls where we meet them and we feel that instant connection. And of course, we feel like we've always known them. Oftentimes it's going to be positive, but sometimes it can be negative. If you're meeting someone who has been your boss in a past life and they were beating you up, or maybe it was a judge who put you in prison, you've got imprisoned for something, for a crime that you never did, like, you might be scared of that person, or feeling very uneasy, and you just don't know why. Sometimes it's because it's a past life. Also, I just want to add that sometimes it's because someone has kind of the same physique as someone who has troubled us in the past. So, for going back to my example, if your boss was constantly beating you in a past life, and in this life you meet someone who has the exact same physique, you might not want to become friends with that person. You even might have a physical aversion for this type of person. So that can happen. So it might not be a past life, but just like a physical resemblance. And that is how there are people incarnating as women who feel very uneasy with strong male presence, sometimes, really tall, bulky men, because of what happened in their past lives, getting beat up by a male employer, because, in the past they were more or just male employers, depending on the era or the century. So that can happen also. But when we meet someone, and I'm going to tie this with soulmates, like, we feel it. It's like our soul is suddenly ignited, alive, like we feel we've known them all along, and we feel this strong connection. And I often give the example with my husband. When I met him, like, I didn't know him much because he was a friend of a friend. My friend couldn't house me in Paris, so my husband was living across the street, did. He's so nice. That's why I'm still with him. He's just there behind the camera. And so I didn't know him, got to Paris, and the day after, he was bringing me to London because I never went there, and he's nice. So he brought me to London. It was completely platonic. We were just friends, and I was holding his hand the whole time. And we didn't even have a little kiss or anything. It's like, no, it was just friends. And it felt like the most natural thing to me because I have had past lives with him, and past lives where we were business partners, and also husband and wife. And we were meant to be together in this life. And this is kind of how I felt it. But also, later on, during that time when I was in France, at some point he told me, I need to go to my parents this weekend to take care of my dying cat. So I'm going to leave you alone in my apartment in Paris. And something so strange I felt inside of me was like, no, I cannot be separated from him. It was like a no, this is impossible. And I asked him, would you take me with you? Like, can I come to your parents' house with you? And I was rather shy, and I didn't know his family, his parents. And he was like, yeah, sure, I'm going to ask my parents. And you see, it's as if the spirit guides were giving me its clairsentience, like, no, you really need to be with this person. You cannot miss the boats. And of course, there are a lot of other signs and synchronicities that, looking back, I know that these were signs that I was meeting a soulmate, and a romantic soulmate. And I want to add that not all the signs and the synchronicities are super obvious. We do not live in a movie. We're getting all these Hollywood series and movies, and it's very romantic and very, like, out of this world. That might happen this way for some people. I'm not saying it doesn't always happen, but not for everyone. So be on the lookout for signs. And sometimes you can journal. Sometimes afterwards we realize things that were signs. And that's how it goes with soulmates, but also with so many other signs that we're getting from our spirit guides. Okay, so very quickly, before we end, the automatic feeder just went on. It is noon and my cat wants to be fed. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so we have Jennifer, who wants to know, are souls able to fall in love on the astral plane? So what Jennifer is asking is that in between our lives, we go back to the astral plane, and it's just us, our pure soul. And are we able to fall in love with other souls on the astral plane? I was really curious because I never thought about that. And my spirit guides were saying that there is kind of this form of deeper love with souls with whom we have had a lot of romantic past lives, that we connected deeply and frequently with them in our incarnations on Earth. But it's not really as we see it. Like, the way we feel on the astral plane is not as emotional as it is when we are on Earth. And so it's more like a deep love, but it's not a roller coaster of emotions. It's the difference that they are showing me. And that's when we are in between incarnations. And as I was saying, when we stop reincarnating on Earth, then we become full-time spirit guides. And they said that once we do, there is less of this aspect. We have tremendous love for all the other souls, all the other forms of lives, but it's not like very specific towards someone. It's more like very strong and equal for everyone is what I'm getting. Okay. Well, that ends our live for today. I just want to say a few things before I end. So I answered as many questions as I could. If you still have questions, and maybe this live triggered for you some other questions about soulmates, send me your questions, and I'm going to note it down for the next live in April. I want to say that there is one spot left if you want an Akashic reading or a card reading in March. I have one spot left. I think it's on March 28th. So spots are filling fast if you are thinking on booking. Do not forget, I have freebies. I have the channeling cheat sheet I mentioned. I have a Akashic Records guide if you're curious about the Akashic Records. So you can check that out on my website or Instagram. Just click on freebies. Remember on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It's really helping, get the momentum and get other old souls find out about my channel. And it helps them remember that they are a soul reincarnating with all these past lives. I have my Akashic Records Advanced course coming up. Remember, you can get on the wait list right now. You need to be on the newsletter to get the pre-sale price, which is going to be the very lowest price I'm ever going to offer this advanced class, which is all about channeling the Akashic Records of others. So right now I have the Akashic Records Level 1 course online, which is about reading your own Akashic Records if you want to learn how to do that and channel the records of others. It's coming soon in